Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Cryptocurrencies Review here on Share Talk for Sunday, the 18th of April, special emergency edition after China pulled the rug from under the crypto market by allowing gold imports. Sort of depending on where you look, the news broke on Friday or Saturday, and I suppose that is reflected in the way that these markets moved. It's interesting that some crypto-related stocks were already falling towards the latter part of last year, maybe one or two bright sparks realized what China might be doing or anticipated what it might be doing. As far as Dogecoin is concerned, actually, it's the star of the show. You can see that it's the only major or the only one in our list which is actually up on the day, up nearly 10%. A couple of points to note, I suppose, if Dogecoin, which was sort of a laughing stock, crypto is actually up on the day, then perhaps the declines that we're seeing are not quite as serious, although not going to be as long lasting as maybe it might look at this stage. The final point to note about Dogecoin is that we had 24 cents as a potential new support on any dips, and we've had that, I think, for the last, I suppose 23 cents was the low yesterday, 24 today. So the charting has sort of worked about as close as it can. We did actually spike up to 45 after the last time we looked at it, which was at 17 cents on Friday, which feels like a long time ago. The view at this stage is that while there's no end of day close back below yesterday's floor around the 23 cents level, we're looking for at least a retest of 45 and then up to 60 cents, hopefully by the end of next month. So as far as Dogecoin is concerned, there is no crisis or no issue at all here. On to Bitcoin Cash, and here you can see that we hit it with well, the good news was that we did actually hit our target and actually exceed the target there around the 1060 level. In fact, went up towards 1200. We were hoping, I suppose, as soon as recently as yesterday, that we might actually go up to a new leg as high as 1330, but it was not to be. The best guess at the moment is that we're going to retest former February resistance around 774 as new support. We've already had a probe towards 800, so that's the first stage, and we might get another test of that area or sub 800 area tomorrow, Monday. I mean, normally Monday tends to be the weakest, for some reason, the weakest of the week. So let's see if that pans out. Obviously today, on this week, Sunday has been the weakest of the days, but let's see how that goes. But 774, the line in the sand for Bitcoin Cash. While we're above that, still looking for a retest of the highs and to go on to further highs. On to NEO, which I suppose in a way did actually do what we wanted, in the sense that the higher trend channel or trend line projection there towards $100 was hit. The current situation, though, is we're looking to see where new support might come in. The most likely scenario, most likely area rather, is $68, the initial April peak there. So while we're above that, still regarding the technical glass here as half full rather than half empty. End of day close above $80 would be quite a big win for us, in the sense that it would suggest that we're between 80 and 105, the highs that we've had, rather than actually topping out. So that would be a decent consolidation. That's almost about as light as you could get in terms of a decline off a peak for NEO. On to Litecoin, and here we've had I suppose we managed to bounce off the old mid-March resistance there around the $229, $230 level. The low today so far 226, so old resistance became new support, bit of a bear trap below that, and bounced quite effectively, actually bounced quite well. Also bounced above the 50-day moving average. So again, this looks like a market which is half full rather than half empty. If you're looking for a near-term trigger, I suppose that last support on the way down at 239, maybe an end-of-day close stop loss for the rest of the day, and then going into the early part of this week as we look for a retest of 335, yesterday's resistance. On to Monero, which is a similar kind of situation here with the actually managed to bull trap through yesterday's high, so that is actually a bit different. The key reversal to the downside now. What we really need to see now is an end of day close back above 340. That's not only the old target that we had, 340 was an old resistance line from last year, but also yesterday's low. So that would be a good trigger for people looking for a recovery in this market. Otherwise, I think there's a risk of a further or more retests of old February resistance around the 287 area, so just below 300. Worst case scenario probably at this stage is that we'd have to retest the 50-day line, currently rising sharply at $252. But at the moment, probably 280 to 300, the favored destination for any support probes that are required. On to Bitcoin, and rather nasty, I would say, all round. Here we managed to break line of resistance at 5,900. We're currently below the 50-day moving average, which is not a nice place to be, given that we haven't been below that particular feature. Let's see now for well, I suppose since back in September or October. So that's quite an achievement. A bit of an alarm bell on that front. The plus point, I suppose, is so far we've got a higher low versus the end of March. So that low there around the 50,360 level. Low today at 51,541. So that's quite a positive. And probably what we want to see now really is a recovery of the initial April resistance, which was around the 57,000 level, around 50. Well, actually, no, it's just around the 55,680. So end of day close back above that is what we're looking for as the first sign that this market is back on its feet, and that would also tie in with the 50-day moving average level as well. So 50-day line or there or thereabouts is the trigger, or the hopeful trigger, for a recovery for Bitcoin. But of course, in the near term, our move, or potential move towards 80,000 rather, is off the not on the cards, and as things stand. On to Cardano, which is a sort of a slightly less painful version of Bitcoin at the moment. Temporary probe below the 50-day moving average at $1.19. It'd be nice to see an end of day close above that, so we would just remain in a range between around 115 and 155. So watch out for the 50-day moving average being held on an end of day close basis at Cardano. That'd be quite a result, as it would be obviously with Bitcoin as well. Just some hours to go now. Chainlink, actually, that is a nice thing to see there, where the quick test of the floor of the rising trend channel from last year, and also the 50-day moving average. That's just above the $30 level, and quite a nice spike, as I said. We want to see an end of day close back above the low of Friday. That was around $43. So if we can get an end of day close back above that, this really would be, it would almost be a case of just suggesting this decline today was a one-day wonder. So maybe let's see if that Chainlink is leading the way on that particular front. On to Ethereum, and here we've had a market which is currently resting on the initial April resistance area, so call that 2145 or 2140. End of day close back above 2145 would be a sign that this market's recovered from the China shock, and then we can head back up towards the 3000 level. Has to be said, it has been such a strong market. It seems that already seems that this is not really a serious move to the downside, but one can always be left to be surprised. But at this stage, as I said, Ethereum, at least while we're above the 50-day line, that's at 1861, at least while we're above the last, or the initial April support at 2128, then it would appear that one would give the benefit of the doubt still to the upside scenario. On to Uniswap, which is also toying currently with its 50-day moving average. That's around the $30 level, so we want to see an end of day close back above that, also above the floor of the rising trend channel, which has been in place since the end of last year. That's resistance line projection currently heading towards 45, and so end of day close back above 30 should still keep the $45 scenario intact, although of course the rather more bullish one, the January resistance line projection towards $70, has to be off the cards for the moment. On to Tron, which was something of a heroic situation during the week, but here we've, I suppose, found support sort of between the initial high and the initial low of April, almost slap bang in the middle of it, around the 12 cents level. But probably at the moment we'd say that while we're above 10 cents, looking for the upside to continue, and for this market to eventually head up to 24 cents rather, by the end of next month. $24 would be maybe asking a little bit too much even for this market. On to Polkadot, and here you can see that we've had the same jiggery-pokery either side of the 50-day moving average, also around the floor of the rising trend channel from back in November, so echoing what we've seen in other markets. The minimum requirement for upside confidence would be an end-of-day close back above that old resistance line there from February at $39. That's still some way away, but maybe we'll see that Monday, Tuesday. And above 39, then we can head back towards 60. So it's sort of down but not out in terms of Polkadot at the moment. On to Binance, did really well with that hitting that target towards 580 plus. So that is impressive. Probably looking now towards initial April resistance of around $412 as potential support. So maybe one more day testing that, and then we can rise up again. But with the 50-day line rising so sharply, it would appear at this stage that even if there was a decline for this market, the bulls would come in quite eagerly to mop it up and get at least a dead cat bounce effect on this particular market. But at the moment, all eyes on $412 above that. Still looking for $580 to $600 for Binance, looking on the bright side rather than the negative side. Another market here, Stellar, which is showing us that we've got the 50-day line as a very important feature in many markets. Here it's bounced off the 50-day line there at 45 cents, and while we're above that, still looking for 60 cents and then 80 to 90 cents on a 2 to 3 month view. So this could turn out to be the dip to buy into, a bit like the other occasions in January and December. So let's see if that happens. On to Holo, which has broken out of its rising trend channel, which is obviously disappointing. Current situation is that we want to see at least an end-of-day close back above recent support for this market around 1.5 cents. If we can get that, then we're still on track for a 3 cents target by the end of next month. So let's see if the initial April support holds and can be maintained over the rest of the month. On to Ripple, which is the last selection of the day in this rather marathon session. Here, I suppose we had all our hopes and dreams fulfilled with the that $1.40 target hit, then the best case scenario target towards 190, just missing out on the $2 level. So current situation is probably one would want to see an end of day close back above 140 to give us 180 to 190 all over again on Ripple, but not quite bearish in the sense that we're still holding above the initial April resistance at 91 cents. So I think while that remains intact, one can maintain a positive view or a buy on dips point of view just for now. That's it for me today. More updates later in the week.